from the team selection to the intensity, I thought it was all wrong today.
Yeah, obviously that Martinelli one was a sitter, wasn't it?
To me, I don't think I've ever seen such an obvious handball.
I was actually really unhappy. And I think that's probably one of my most unpopular opinions I have about Arsenal.
Do something about it in the 90 minutes. Take the game by the scruff of the neck if you are that leader.
G'day Gooners, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I don't know why I'm smiling so much because it was not a good result at all, wasn't it? 2 points dropped, in my opinion. Don't think there's any case against that. Against Nottingham Forest, it was a 4:30 a.m. kickoff, which is always more rough when we drop points. As always, I'm joined with George. George, how are you feeling?
Mate, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. I thought you carried the ship very, very well for our previous game, along with your special guest. But no, it's good to be back. Obviously, I wish I was back on better, I guess, with a better result. It was pretty frustrating performance, pretty frustrating result. You know what? It's very, very. We're seeing common themes. We're seeing common themes all season, really, in terms of the reasons that we are not winning these sorts of games. I think there's a combination of reasons why. I think number one, obviously, the pressure. In context of the season, City dropped points, lost to Man United.
Yep.
Sort of emphatically, an emphatic performance from Michael Carrick's Man United. Thought they played really, really well. They probably should have won 3 or 4. But then, you know, we really should have and could have extended our lead at the top of the table by more. You know, we could have come away from this this round of fixtures being 9 points clear of City, and that to me would have had them just about out of sight. I mean, you never know in the Premier League, but that really would have been a big dagger for them, and very, very frustrating to not get the 3 points. I thought they didn't deal with the pressure very well. They looked very leggy, and there was pretty poor performances all round.
Yeah.
I can't really name a player who I thought played very well, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if you agree with that. But yeah.
Maybe Raya, clean sheet. That's all I can think of, really.
Yeah, but even Raya, I mean, he wasn't really taking care of his passes. He sort of rushed out one time and nearly got caught out.
True.
So I don't know. There was something going on, and I thought it really did come. I'm going to blame the manager. It comes from the top, and I actually really thought from the team selection to the intensity, I thought it was all wrong today, to be honest with you.
No, I completely agree. I actually did watch the Man United Man City game, so it was a bit of a classic Premier League fan overseas night. 3 hours sleep total, I'm pretty sure. Watched the game at 11:30, and it was a night of highs and lows as well. Woke up, keen for the game, feeling good, still tired, and then to perform like that, it's just so lackluster. And I do agree with you. I think Arteta did get the lineup wrong today. I think Trossard and Saka should have been starting. I know they played against Chelsea, but for me, in the Premier League, you got to start your strongest team. And I know Madueke and Martinelli, maybe not Martinelli as of recent in the Premier League, is good enough for this team at the moment, but I thought Madueke was poor. He didn't look like himself. It looked like he tried to rush too many of his opportunities. And yeah, like you said, just no one really seemed like they had a good game. I just thought overall we played very slow. And yeah, it was disappointing, wasn't it?
100%. I mean, in terms of Saka, Arteta came out and said that Saka did actually have a knock. So that's why he didn't start the game. So I understood the Madueke one. I think on the other side, the problem that you have is that you have almost the same type of winger and the same type of forward. So you've got your Gyökeres, your Maduekes, and your Martinellis, who are very, very direct 1v1 players, not particularly technically secure. I mean, Madueke somewhat is, but isn't in the same way that a Saka is or a Trossard is. And when it comes to our forwards, not in the same way that a Havertz and a Jesus is, like if you compare them and Gyökeres. By playing all three sort of runners, you then really, really rely on your Martin Odegaard to produce creativity, especially when like Timber's not on that side and maybe a Lewis Skelly's not playing, and a Calafiori in particular. Calafiori's not playing as your left back. Because we love Rice and he's a world-class midfielder, but he's not your creative player who can sort of beat two men, play an intricate pass in behind, and he's not going to do that. And so what we saw with Forest is that they literally just man-marked Odegaard. And as soon as you man-mark Odegaard and he's not winning that 1v1 battle, which he didn't win, against Elliot Anderson, who I thought had a really, really good game, by the way. We can talk about him later, really good player. As soon as you do that, you're then sort of really relying on Noni Madueke to produce magic. And he has proven that he can't do that on a consistent basis. He proved it at Chelsea, he proved it at PSV. So I thought they got the selection wrong. If you're going to go with a Noni Madueke out wide, you either have to go with a Havertz or a Jesus up front, and then a Trossard out wide. Or if you want to go with Martinelli, you have to definitely go with a Saka or a Havertz or a Jesus up front. You can't go with all three wingers. And failing that, if you are going to go with all three runners as your forward players, you then have to drop one of Rice and Zubimendi and then play Eze in the 10. So you have two creators there. Because what happens is when Odegaard is being man-marked, that takes a Forest midfielder out the game, which leaves more space then for our other midfielder. If that other midfielder is then Ebere Eze, he can then cause damage in central areas. But we didn't have that today. And it really, really showed. We really ran out of ideas. Having said that, we actually still managed to create good chances. And of course, as per usual in these really important games, we don't capitalize on those chances. And now we rue the fact that we didn't win the game.
Yeah, I mean, the first one that comes to my mind was that Martinelli one. That Martinelli miss.
It's an open goal,
wasn't it? Yeah,
it's an open goal.
It just sucks because he's been against Portsmouth, got a hat trick, and then all he has to do is just put that in the back of the net, and it's a completely different story. We'll probably go on to win that game 3-0, 2-0, 3-0. I would have got my prediction right. So it is very, very disappointing that I just thought we just didn't move the ball quick enough, to be honest. I don't know if you agree, but I do agree with you. I do think, I don't know if you saw my lineup in the last episode, but I was calling for Eze and Odegaard to play together. And I don't know why we're not trying it. I get it against the big teams, you want more of a balance, but against the smaller teams where all credit to Nottingham Forest defended well, but they had nothing going forward. It didn't look like they had any intent to even score a goal. We can take our foot off the brake a little bit and attack a little bit more. You know, we've got runners that always come back. We've still got our back four looking solid. So I would love to see Eze and Odegaard play more together. We always talk about that West Ham game, but that West Ham game is becoming a bit of a distant memory now. What was that, like 3 months ago? So I was thinking maybe that was just a one-off. Maybe Arteta saw something that he didn't like when he saw that partnership, but I think we still got to try. I think it will open up so many chances for us. And yeah, obviously that Martinelli one was a sitter, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, absolute sitter. And even before that, Ben White had a chance on his left foot and skied it. Then, like a few minutes later, obviously Madueke had the ball on the outside of the box, took a half volley, sort of ricocheted. And I actually thought, in terms of running off the ball and seeking out the chance, I thought like Martinelli sniffed it out really well. He predicted what was going to happen. But once you get there, like obviously Semenyo tucks that away. You know what I mean? Like I know it's on his left foot, but it's a sitter. It's an absolute sitter, and you've got to create momentum in games where you're not playing very well. And usually we do that by scoring a set piece. Like that will create our momentum. That will cause Forest, who I thought defended quite well, to come and then press us because they're chasing something. And obviously with the Spurs and West Ham result and West Ham managing to beat Spurs, they had to go and get a point from that game against us at least. So if you get that first goal, then the floodgates do open. I guess where my problems lie is I think that we need to be better at opening the floodgates, and we can't just rely on set pieces and deflected shots. Like the best teams in the world create chances from central areas, and we really struggle, which is again obviously frustrating. But in terms of the whole game itself, I think their XG was like 0.34, whereas ours was 2.7 or 2.07. You know, so they had nothing. Really, they had nothing. They didn't really create anything. We had 60% of the ball, and we weren't able to do much with it. Frustrating. There was a lot to unpack. I thought Timber at left back didn't work today. I thought if you're going to have an inverted left back who literally sits next to their midfielder, then why isn't Miles Lewis-Skelly doing that job? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, you don't need. Obviously, they've got decent wingers. But really, the one who causes a lot of trouble is obviously Callum Hudson-Odoi. But their other winger, which I think of previous weeks has been like Amari Hutchinson and Doy, they weren't starting the game. So you don't have to go with two defensive-minded fullbacks. You can go with a Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back. It didn't make sense to me.
I completely agree with you, but I think it's easier to say that in hindsight because
Of course,
no one was really calling for Lewis-Skelly to start this game since his form, you know. But
myself included.
That being said, after seeing that first half and seeing that Forest didn't really have any threat down that right-hand side, that's where Arteta can make that sub and bring Lewis-Skelly on, which I think that's where he made the mistake. Completely understand why Timber started the game, but I think Lewis-Skelly should have definitely came on later in the game because, I just don't think Timber, as good as he is defensively on that left-hand side and offensively on the right-hand side, going forward on the left-hand side for him just doesn't seem natural for him. Like, he seemed to pick up a lot of different positions where Calafiori isn't. He was more central, almost playing as a 6 sometimes. I don't know if you saw that as well, but it was definitely interesting. I just don't think it helped our fluidity at all. Like, if you're sitting in that 6 position, where's Zubimendi, where's Rice? It gets too congested. And then even in saying that, we struggle to progress the ball in central areas as well. And you think that would help having Timber in there, but it just didn't. I think it was just a mess today all around, to be honest.
Really struggled to do that. Completely agree. And I've been obviously all over Twitter and watching a few clips here and there. And one of the clips that I was watching was actually, it was a Zinchenko highlights reel of the 2022-23 season. And his ability to just receive the ball in central areas and always find a forward pass, usually into Xhaka, but it's always disguised through the lines, even when a team is in a sort of a mid-block. And Zubimendi and Rice just were not capable of doing that pass today. I don't really remember a time where they beat a block to find Odegaard's feet in relative space. Like, no wonder Odegaard got man-marked out the game because Forest was sitting pretty deep. By the time he was getting the ball, he had 3 men on him. Yeah. It gives him hardly a second to either check his shoulders or to receive the ball on the back foot. Like, he just didn't have that opportunity. And listen, he lost all his battles today. He did lose all his battles today, and it wasn't a good game from Martin Odegaard. But what I would say is we're not platforming his strengths at the moment, which is either, I don't know, dictating the tempo of a football match or receiving the ball in those pockets on the back foot so he then can create chances. But if he's going to do that role, you need to find him quickly. And someone like a Zinchenko or a Granit Xhaka would always fizz that ball in really quick into the feet of either an Odegaard or a Jesus, who would sort of come deep to retrieve the ball. But super frustrating, super frustrating. I don't know how we solve it, really. I guess that's the more frustrating part of it.
Bring Zinchenko back, and I'm not joking when I say that. Like, obviously, we're probably not going to bring him back, but I haven't been able to say this on this podcast because we started this podcast in October after the transfer window. But I was actually really unhappy that Zinchenko left on loan, and I think that's probably one of my most unpopular opinions I have about Arsenal. But I think Zinchenko could have played a huge role in our season. I know. Maybe in the big games, yes, obviously not good enough when he comes up against a Salah or a Doku or something like that. He's going to get rinsed. But in these sort of games, Zinchenko is so crucial. So I was actually really unhappy when he left because this game would have suited him perfectly when we're trying to break down these low block teams. And even he can play in the left 8 as well, which I think is something that we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see at all, which is so disappointing because we've had problems that left-hand side 8. Obviously, when Havertz came in, he tried to fit in that spot. It didn't really work out. We haven't really found a player that plays like Xhaka. Yes, Declan Rice has taken that position, but he's a different player to Granit Xhaka. So having an option with like a left-footed player there, I think is crucial for us, and it would help a lot.
Well, Marino's left-footed, but again, he's not that similar to those two. For me, it's just more like having someone who has the technical level to really pick those passes. Like that. It's not an easy skill to have. Firstly, to see a pass through the lines, a disguised pass through the lines. Obviously, last season, Thomas Partey, and when Thomas Partey was fit, like he was very, very good at that. But seeing the pass is one thing, and it's difficult. But actually having the ability to play that pass accurately is
Yep.
also very, very difficult. And yeah, someone like Zinchenko is definitely, in my opinion, would have been a really good squad player. Listen,
Yeah.
he wouldn't,
Exactly.
he wouldn't, for me, he probably wouldn't have occupied left back because I just don't think,
No. Yeah.
I think when teams play against us, they sit in a low block and then they really, really counter attack at pace. And that's obviously where he struggles. And actually, it's sort of where we're seeing Lewis Skelly struggle as well a little bit. When the ball goes over his head, he really does struggle with that sort of ball. But similarly, you're looking at a squad count, and you've got what? Timber, who started at left back today. You've got Calafiori, who's arguably our first choice left back. You've got Miles Lewis Skelly, who had an unbelievable season last year, who's not really in favour. And you've also got Hincapié, who's been playing at left back. So, like, how many left backs can you really afford to have in a squad? So, I understand why he got sent out on loan.
Yeah.
I just think that if you're going to send out a player like him on loan, either you have to replace him with someone who's got such a high technical level that they can play those passes from anywhere on the pitch, where I think Eze's a really technically good player, but I actually don't think he has the ability to play that sort of pass. I think he's the one who should be receiving those passes as opposed to the one who's passing it. So you have to bring someone in who can do it, and we haven't done that, which is frustrating in games like this where like teams are really sitting back, they're low, they're dogged. Once the pass is played, they're shutting off angles and yeah. But despite that, you look at what 40 minutes goes by and we play a long ball as a clearance. Murillo sort of like mishits it. Gyökeres looks like he's going through. He didn't quite get that first touch away from him, and Murillo manages to come back and clear the ball. What did you think of that whole sort of sequence of play? Did you think Gyökeres should have done better? Did you think it was just a good block?
I think it was a bit of both. I think Murillo is obviously a very, very good defender and very quick as well. But I think that's Gyökeres' bread and butter. Obviously, when we signed him, we're watching compilations, we're seeing him run through it like that. So when I saw that, I was like, here we go. This is him. This is Gyökeres right now. This is his chance. So obviously, I'm always going to say he should have done better, but I do actually think it was just a very good defensive effort.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And more on Gyökeres, like obviously we talk about him almost every podcast. I'm not sure if did I speak to you last time about what Jamie Redknapp had said on Sky Sports about him, which I thought was
can you
super
remind
true.
me? What was it?
So at Sporting Lisbon, obviously Ruben Amorim's team play with like a 3-4-3. So they have wing backs, right? And obviously the left wing back is left footed. So the types of crosses that Gyökeres would be receiving are ones where they're fired across goal and he can sort of run on the end of it. Similar to what to the goal that he scored against Chelsea. But for us, we've got but for us, we have Saka, who's left-footed, playing on the right, who cuts in, and then we have Trossard and Martinelli on the left, who cut in on their right foot. So he's almost having to predict the type of cross that he's receiving, and it's not what he's accustomed to. So I really do believe that going forward, we need to go into the market and get a left winger who is either both-footed, like a Semenyo. Obviously, we can't now. Or a left-footed left winger or a right-footed right winger. We need to have that different option, or even a left back who is more of a touchline left back and not like a fourth centre back or an inverted fullback. You know, obviously Ben White on the right-hand side, he is more of a traditional fullback in that he can go up and down the line, but Timber's not really that. And on the left, we don't really have anyone who can do it. So we need to serve him more and the type of passes and crosses that he really feeds off. Otherwise, we're going to see this on a consistent basis like we have this season, which is disappointing.
Well, do you not think that we already have the solutions in our squad? Then they're just not being utilized properly? Like we've seen Madueke on the left-hand side. I remember at the start of the season, he played there a few times and he was whipping those balls in. I feel like if Madueke gets a run of games on that left-hand side, we could see the best out of Gyökeres with those sort of finishes. That's why I'm saying, we're talking about winger partnerships before, how you're saying that if you have a Saka, then you need a Martinelli to balance it out. But could you not say also that we could have a Madueke on the left and a Saka on the right? Would that also work as well? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that could definitely work. We had seen that at the start of the season,
or even Saka on the left as well.
Maybe
he came through as a left back. So,
well, if you think of the game where we played against Nottingham Forest at home, Eze was the one who was playing out on the left, and he played a ball with his left foot where Gyökeres got on the end of it.
Yep.
Literally that exact same thing. So you know my thoughts on Eze. You know I think he should be starting on that left-hand side. I just think he'd provide the most balance. But for whatever reason, it's not happening at the moment, which is super frustrating. What about the second half? What did you think of the second half there, Cal?
I think I like to see that Trossard came on from Martinelli. I think it was the right thing to do. But I think it was just more of the same. It didn't look like it was still slow, moving the ball way too slow. I just don't understand. Like we've got quality players, Declan Rice, Zubimendi, all these players are very accustomed to, tippy-tappy, sort of tapping it around, Gabriel Saliba. But I thought, especially Gabriel Saliba, just hang on to the ball a bit too long for my liking. I just don't think it was fluid enough as a whole. Odegaard was missing in this game, which is just so unfortunate because I'm a big fan of Odegaard, but I thought it's probably one of his poorest performances this season. And it was just the same as the first half. And I was excited for the second half because there's been a lot of times this season where we've had a really poor first half, and then we come out in the second and it's all good. We make the right subs and we go on and win the game. But it seemed like we actually played worse in the second half, if anything.
Yeah, no, we were very poor, and even though Arteta did make a sub at halftime, obviously Trossard came on for Martinelli. It didn't really impact the game, to be honest.
Yep.
Thought tempo was slow. Thought we were just very lackluster, and he did make the changes to try and change the game. And listen, we still created chances. They weren't brilliant chances, but you got to think of, I don't know, the Marino header.
Yeah, that was probably our best chance of the half.
Yeah, I mean, there's either half chances as well. When Eze came on, Jesus sort of outmuscled one of their defenders and played the ball over into Eze, who miscontrolled it. And then obviously that led to the big incident of the game, which is like, I know I want Arteta, I want the whole squad to be totally accountable for the fact that they did not win that game, and I actually don't think they deserve to win that game.
Yep.
Maybe based on the statistics and the chances created, we deserved it more than Forest did, but I still don't think we did enough to win the game. However, to me, I don't think I've ever seen such an obvious handball.
Penalty every day.
I don't think I've ever seen. He literally moved. He scooped the ball in to try and avoid it being a corner.
Yeah, I mean, he's controlled the ball with his hand. Yes, it did go out, but I do think it was accidental. But I think he was lucky that the ball went out. If the ball stayed, because you can imagine if the ball stayed in and then he boots that ball away or plays a pass, they probably give the penalty. I genuinely think the only reason they didn't give that penalty is because the ball went out for a corner straight after.
I'm not sure. I just think it's very, very poor officiating. I think the lads who are in the VAR room and all Northerners and all biased and they all hate Arsenal now. I'm kidding. But there must be something to it because I can't for the life of me see how that is not a penalty.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't
and
understand.
That changes a game. It's such small margins in it at the top where you just need something like that to fall for you. And yes, obviously it evens itself out across a whole season. We have had decisions that have gone for us this season as well. I'm not disputing that. However, in a game like that where it didn't look like we were going to score, we needed something like that to go for us. And I think it was an absolute howler of a decision. They cleared it as natural movement. I'm not sure if you've ever played football, mate. I'm sure you have. That's not natural movement.
That's not natural. Controlling the ball with your arm, pushing it in, that is not a natural movement. Natural movement would be on his side or, So it is disappointing. But as you said, it does even out. It is so frustrating and so tiring. Previous seasons, we've seen these sort of things so many times. I said this before on the podcast. I still genuinely, hand on heart, do not know what the handball currently is at the moment. The handball rule. I don't know what it is. Seriously, every time I see a handball, even though I saw that, I still wasn't confident. I was like, yeah, it's a handball, but we'll see if they give it or not. Because you never actually know in the Premier League. So yeah, I think it was really disappointing. And yeah, you're exactly right. Those sort of moments can decide titles, and you got to get lucky with them sometimes. And unfortunately today we didn't. But yeah, just on set pieces as well, because that could have unlocked the game. Just on another note, I thought our corners were really poor as well. Obviously,
they weren't good corners.
They were just terrible. Every ball was near the back post, but there was 3 Forest players there. None of our players really went for it. I can't think of any corner that landed on one of our players' heads, right?
Well, I think the Ben White chance came from a corner, but it was like more of a second phase of a corner.
Yeah.
Um, there was like instances where a corner did lead to a half chance or a chance. But yeah, I agree with you. The delivery today wasn't as good as it usually was. Maybe that something in Madueke being the one who was taking it from the right hand side and it not being Saka. But no, even on the other side, Declan Rice, I just don't think had a great game. And I'm not sure what you thought of his little clip after the game. I'm not sure if you've seen that. Have you seen?
Was
Have you
that when
seen?
he said like every time or something like that?
He was like, "Yeah, that was
Oh
effing
yeah,
shit." Like
yeah.
every time with it. To me, he knows exactly what he's doing. There's a camera in his face. He wants like to appeal to the fans and probably spark more of the debate that he
He's
should
not
be the
wrong though. He's
captain.
not wrong though, is he?
He- Listen, he's not wrong. He's not wrong, but I've always been told, and like same as a player, and when I was coaching, the same thing I would tell the players when I was coaching is don't go into the changing room after the game and then complain.
Yeah,
Do something about it. Do something about it in the 90 minutes. Take the game by the scruff of the neck if you are that leader,
yeah.
which he has been a lot. So that really frustrated me because it was like you're playing up to the cameras now, mate. And I just think that's actually an example of quite poor leadership. I think he does so much for this team. He is such a leader.
I think that's also why he's so frustrated as well, because he does always give his all, and I think maybe some of the other players let him down. So I'm not going to fully like I completely do agree with you, but at the same time, like we've all been there after a game where sometimes it can get a little bit ratty. Like you say a few comments you don't mean in the moment, but
say it in the changing room, mate. Don't say it like in front when the camera's in front of your face. We see them all the time covering their face when they're trying to talk to their teammates. Like it was very obvious to me what he was doing there.
Did he say it to anyone, or was it just himself?
No, to himself.
Okay.
To himself. Like I'll send you the clip afterwards. Like it was very, very obvious what he was doing, and I actually thought that was quite a poor example of leadership, man. Because millions of Arsenal fans are going to see it. They're on the back of always using Odegaard as a scapegoat and saying how he should be captain and not Odegaard. Odegaard doesn't have a good game, and then you're out saying that in the public domain. No, go into the changing room, let out your frustrations in the changing room, just like we saw on the All or Nothing Amazon documentary where, I don't know, Xhaka comes in, he kicks something. Even that, I actually think, don't leave it till after the 90 minutes to get angry about it. Do it in the 90 minutes. Prove your point in the game so you don't have to be frustrated at the end of it.
I think Xhaka's done that a few too many times in the game, though, when he's been sent off.
That's true. That's true, man. Maybe for Xhaka, it's actually better he does it afterwards. Yeah. But just in general, like it's so frustrating. It's more frustrating for fans than it is for, I don't know. It's probably equally as frustrating. But my point is they all didn't play very well today. They all were pretty below par, and we probably got what we deserved.
No, I completely agree with you. Super, super frustrating. And I know there'll be some people out there that say, "Oh, look, we're still 7 points clear." But I don't like how people are saying 7 points clear. If Aston Villa win tomorrow, we're only 4 points clear, which 100%. Is just breaks open the title race again. That's why today was so important. It's not just about the draw, and it's like we should be winning that game on paper every time. I know we drew there last season, and they're becoming a bit of a bogey team for us. Like even at home, they cause us some problems. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, super frustrating. It's 100% 2 points dropped. I don't want to hear anything otherwise. And all we can really do now is just bounce back.
And we have to, quick.
Have to. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we've got Inter Milan next. Should we do the preview for that just quickly?
Sure.
Yeah. The reason why I want to speak about this game is because I want to ask you, do you think we should rotate in this game? I've seen a lot of people talk about it because there's two options. A, we go out there and we prove that we can win in a tough away game, bounce back strong. Or B, we completely rest because Champions League pretty much wrapped up. Obviously, our last group game is against Kairat, who are not very good at all, and we're at home. They're from all credit to them, amazing story for them. I think they're from Uzbekistan. Where are they from? Forgive me, but I think Uzbekistan.
Kazakhstan, maybe?
Kazakhstan, sorry, on the border with China, which is crazy. So big away game for them, but obviously we probably should get the win there. So what way are you kind of leaning for this? Because for me, I think it's a big game. We have to go and prove a point.
I'm the opposite. You'll be probably
Really?
surprised.
Okay.
I think we should rotate. I think we
Okay.
should rotate, but do it within reason. You know, like give one of Zubimendi and Rice a rest. Maybe give one of our centre backs a rest. Um, Good game to see Havertz maybe get some minutes. Want
Yep.
to see Eze
Opposite.
play.
Yep. But is
You know,
is
it's.
Havertz in the squad though for the Champions League?
I think he is. I think
Okay.
he is. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, no, look, it's obviously still a big game regardless. Inter Milan, really, really good side, have caused us problems. I think was it last year they caused us problems? We lost to them in the group
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
stages, not the group stages, but in the first 8 games we lost to them. I think 1-0, and they missed a pen or Raya saved a pen. I might be wrong,
I
but
always get that game mixed up with the Atalanta one. I think it was the Atalanta one, but I
oh,
don't know.
I think you're
They're
right.
both blue and black, so it's so confusing to remember. But
I think you're
I
right. I
think it was
think you're
one of
right.
those. But yeah, Inter Milan currently they are first in their league as well. Pretty much the exact same as us, really. They've played 21 games and 49 points, and obviously we've played 22 now, and we're on 50. So almost the same. They've lost 4 games, drawn one. But yeah, they've been in pretty good form. Uh, they won today. They won last week. Draw against Napoli. One against Parma. One against Bologna. One against Atalanta, who we just mentioned as well. So pretty good form. Obviously one of the best teams in Italy. So how do you think this game goes? Do you think we go out there strong? Do you think we play a little bit cautious? How do you want to see the boys play?
Don't really care that much, to be honest with you, because
Okay.
I actually think that in the Champions League, like we're in a good spot. It's really important that we do finish in the top two, though. By the way, not just the top
Yeah.
eight, the top
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
because the top two get home fixtures all the way
Yeah.
up to the final. Sorry, the home
100%.
fixture second
Yeah.
in the knockout stages, which is big because I don't know. Last time round we didn't have that luxury, even though we came in the top eight. So yeah, will be massive. Where are they currently sat in our Champions League table? They're okay.
Um.
They're in sixth. They're in sixth. So
Yep.
for them, it's also a big game. But yeah, we're actually currently 3 points clear of the team in second place, which is Bayern Munich at the moment. So we can actually afford to drop points if we need to. You know, like
Yeah.
obviously, ideally we'd go and beat Inter at Inter, but if we lost it, definitely would not be the end of the world.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Because we still have that last game to go and win. But I would quite like to see the team rotated. Obviously, we got a big game. Is it Man United next in the Premier
Yeah.
League?
Yep. Huge.
So
That's
massive,
pretty big game. They're going to be up for it as well after
massive
beating
game.
City. So
100%, and they're looking like a totally different outfit now. They've gone back to a four at the back, and
yeah.
weirdly enough, that was the solution all this time. But yeah, no, I would rotate. I would rotate.
What would your lineup
Maybe not
be?
the. It's really hard to say, Cal. Really hard to say. I'd probably go with. I'd keep Raya in goal. I just think that he probably needs a bit of rhythm. So I'd go with David Raya in goal. Maybe give Kepa the game, like the last game in the Champions
Yep.
League. So I'd go Raya. I'd go Lewis Skelly at left back. I would go Yuri Timber at right back.
Yep.
I think that obviously Ben White's played the last 2 games. I'm cautious about his injury, so I'd rest him for this game. And then I'd probably go with.
Mosquera's back. He was on the bench today. So
Yeah, I'd probably go with Mosquera and Gabriel.
yep.
Give Saliba a rest for this game. I'd go with Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, and Eze in front. And then I'd
I
go.
like it. I like it.
No, I actually wouldn't. I'd go Declan Rice, Marino, and Odegaard.
Yep.
And then Eze, Gabby Jesus, and Saka.
Okay. Yep. I'd be happy with that lineup, of course, but I would love to see Havertz get a start. I think he's probably due for a start. He's had a couple sub appearances now, so let's try it. I mean, it's another solution for this team. We may as well try it. I probably would go very similar to you. I'd go Raya, Timber, Lewis Skelly on the left, Mosquera, Gabriel, and then Rice in the six. I do want to see that. And then I actually really like the Eze Odegaard shout. I want to see that. I know he's not going to do it, so I probably agree with you, Marino and Odegaard. That's what I think he will do, but I would go with Eze and Odegaard. Off the
Yeah.
right, I'd go probably Saka. Up front, Havertz, and then on the left, I'll go for Martinelli just because it's Champions League. I know he had that miss, but at the end of the day, Martinelli in Champions League is just a different player. So yeah, that's probably be my
True.
lineup. Yeah. Score predictions. What do you reckon? I think it'll be a close game.
I think it'll be a 1-1 draw, to be honest with you, and I'll take that now.
I just have a feeling it could just be a dead 0-0. Obviously, I don't want it to be, but I think we will get a goal. I think there'll be a goal in this game from somewhere. So I'm gonna go 1-0 Arsenal. I think we can just grind it out. Maybe Gabriel corner goal.
Beautiful. I would absolutely love that. I'd absolutely love that.
Righto. All good then. So there are predictions. That's our lineups for the Inter Milan game. Obviously, 2 points dropped today, which means we are now still first, obviously, but if Aston Villa win tomorrow, only 4 points clear of them, and then 7 points clear of Man City. To be honest, I'm not too worried though, because after seeing Man City play there, I think Aston Villa might now be our biggest threat. So, and we've already played them twice, so at least that's positive for us. So we just got to stay positive, bounce back against Man United, hopefully into Milan as well, and yeah, see out the rest of the season. Obviously, we've got Carabao Cup semi-final early February, so there's definitely things to look forward to Arsenal fans. January transfer window is open, so we'll see if anyone comes in, although I feel like Arteta seems to just not use the January window that much. We've got Trossard and Jorginho. I think that was our only 2 signings we've done the past few years, so that's pretty much it. We'll see how it goes, but that's all from me today. George, you want to wrap up anything?
Yeah, just keep liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. Really want to do a Q&A. So if you are listening to this, please leave a question down under the description below. Leave a comment, leave a question, and we will have them answered for you on our next pod. But that is all from me. Everybody, have a good day, Gooners.
Have a good day, Gooners.